Simon from simonwoods.com. 6 beauties from the Languedoc? I don't know, I've not tasted them, so let's have a see. I've got 2 whites, I've got 3 reds, and I've got a fortified wine to finish. You can't cover the whole of southern France in 6 wines, but because there's loads and loads of stuff going on. But the reason I thought I'd get these 2 whites, one of them's labelled with the varietal name on. So this is Sauvignon Blanc. Yeah, they have Sauvignon Blanc down in that region. And let's give it a whirl. 2009. Under what's called Avery's, so UK wine merchant, Project Winemaker. Nice, clean, fresh, lemony. I mean, Sauvignon grows in several countries around the world. New Zealand's probably the most famous place for it, but the idea here is to produce something that people are familiar with, but which gets them starting to drink French wine. And this smells like it's going to be nice, clean, fresh, perfect, what I call cricket match wine, although I suppose if you're on holiday you don't get too many cricket matches. So maybe this is sit on the deck and have a glass of something, and then have a glass of something slightly more profound later on. Or maybe another glass of this. There's a nice fresh character there. And when did you last have tinned pears? It's almost as if someone's crunched up tinned pears. And you're getting that smoky, musky flavour there. Delicious. Perfect. It's a February day here, and I actually wish I was down in the south of France enjoying the weather there. But on a day like this, even it has its attractions even today. So good start. Let's see what the next one's like. So this one is labelled, doesn't have a grape variety on the label, just says Corbière. So first one labelled according to the grape variety, this one labelled according to the region. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Well, I suppose if you want to put it in terms, if you say Lancashire hot pot to somebody, do you need to explain everything that goes in? No, because if you've come across a Lancashire hot pot, then you know what it is. If you haven't come across a Lancashire hot pot, you think, what is it? Is it a pot that is hot and that comes from this part of the world? Hey, if you're in France, you'll be familiar with Corbière. If you're not, well, you might not be familiar with it. And if you're certainly not in France, you probably won't know the grape varieties in here, which I'm not sure what they are, but they're things that are not very familiar, like Bourboulon and Grenache Blanc, and maybe a bit of Roll in there. You don't know them, that's why they've not put them on the label. Let's try the wine. And the strange thing is here, it's got something of that similar character to the first one. It's got zip, freshness, and it's got this bit of pear character. Feels like it's a year older, and it feels like it's just that little bit more weighty. That's not to do with it being a year older, that's to do with the grapes in the first place. The Sauvignon was all about youthful freshness. This one seems to have a bit more weight to it. So whereas maybe the first one seemed to be like sit on the deck and have a glass wine, this is much more, okay, let's have some chicken and let's have it in a nice creamy mushroom sauce. Yeah, it's slightly more exotic than the Sauvignon. Still got freshness, but it's got these edges of guava and tasty. Maybe not as fresh when you've swallowed it or spat it out as the first one, but more flavour, more going on in there. Nice wine. Next one down, we are back. The first one was labelled Vin de Pays d'Oc. This one is just labelled IGP Pays d'Oc. You don't really need to know what IGP stands for, but it's from this Pays d'Oc. What you're going to see over the next few years is these things that say Vin de Pays disappearing, and it says IGP, Indication Géographique Typique. In other words, Vin de Pays. Ah, the French love changing rules. Okay, this is Cuvée des Amandiers, and it's a red, and how much is it? It's about £5 from Majestic, and it says on the back, helpfully, some wines say things helpfully on the back. This one says it's a blend of Grenache and Syrah. Syrah is the same as the Shiraz grape, just a different name in a different place, and Grenache is the wine, the grape that they use for Côte de Rhône and Châteauneuf-du-Pape. Now this is nice, juicy, gluggable stuff. I don't know if you ever chill your red wines, but this for me is all about bouncy young fruit. And I eat a wine I'd be very happy to sort of stick away in the fridge for not too long, but half an hour, just to give it a bit more freshness and bite, because it doesn't feel like there's going to be any hard edges there. It just smells juicy, soft, fruity, and friendly. And have a swig soon, so I will. Nice, bright, spicy, bags of fruit. Just a bit of chewiness on the end to remind you that it's a wine rather than cordial, and bring on the sausages, get them off the barbecue, have a large glass of that. Well, I mean, you almost want a half-pint pot with that, and it's all about young, immediate fruit. Yeah, delicious. And it's got a screw cap, so I mean, you can take it on a picnic and take it down to the beach, and don't take it, put it somewhere where it's too warm and it boils over. But yeah, try and keep it on the cool side. Okay, next red. Now this one's unusual because it's got both a great variety on the label, Carignan. Maybe not everyone's heard of Carignan, but it's a grape that grows in a lot of southern France, and most of the time it's not all that good. But when it gets to past a certain age, suddenly it's as if it says, right, okay, I'm going to start performing now. So you'll often see people put Old Vine Carignan on the back. So this Carignan from an appellation. A denominated region called Minevois. So they had Corbière there with no great varieties on there, but Carignan from Minevois. Friendly, juicy, vibrant, but it's a different sort of friendliness from the one before. The one before was really like lovely, almost like breakfast wine. This one has a bit more weight and body behind it, and a bit more spice, a bit more fleshy fruit. Yeah, this is definitely bring on the barbecued. Oh, I don't know what barbecue. Yes, a nice bit of steak off the barbecue for this one. Yeah, Minevois is not all that close to the Mediterranean. It's not miles inland, but what happens is you go inland, the land starts rising, you get into the hillsides, and as you rise, it gets a little bit cooler. So the grapes that are grown there tend to be fresher. No shortage of flavour, but you get freshness with the powerful flavours. So here you've got a wine that really is, yeah, bags of flavour. Maybe a bit simple, but Carignan's not a grape that makes for me amazingly complex wines, and I actually prefer it when it's in a blend with some other things. But seeing it by itself, drink it when it's like this, at its youngest and its most youthful, because it ages, it gets us ever so slightly raisiny character, which some people love. Personally, I like it when it's nice and bouncy and Tigger-like like this. Okay, next wine. I think this is the heaviest bottle, and of course a heavy bottle means that wine's going to be good. Domaine du Silène Grand Cuvée, and it's from a place called Grès de Montpellier in the Languedoc, and 2004, so quite a bit older than some of the others. As I said before, age isn't always necessarily a good thing, but there are some certainly beefy red wines that do age. Do really benefit from the age. It's not that you can't drink them when they're young, but be interesting to see what this is like. And the strange thing is, it's made from the same two grape varieties, Syrah and Grenache, as this one here, the Cuvée des Amandiers. But it's a completely different beast. It smells different. It smells like it's a more ambitious wine. It smells like it's been in an oak barrel. There's this like vanilla and toastiness coming through. And it's one of the problems when people sort of think, oh, I like Sauvignon Blanc. If someone said, I like Syrah Grenache blends, well, there's a big difference between these two. So maybe that's one of the reasons why the French developed the appellation system. It tastes more of a place than of the ingredients. But you're getting warm, herby, almost port-like intensity here. It feels like the fruit was very, very ripe. Maybe a bit overripe for some, but it smells like it's going to be plush and velvety and welcoming, especially on a February morning. Well, it's certainly a rich, full-bodied wine. Feels like they've almost done a little bit too much to it. I mean, they've made a wine and then they've continued making it, and they've done this with the oak and they've done this, and it's almost like they didn't know when to take their hands off it and just let it be. And the strange thing is, though, whereas it's got more flavour and it's got more going on in there than the Cuvée des Amandiers, the cheap one, I actually think as a drink, I like that just as much. I like the cheap one just as much as this more expensive one. Final wine. We are on Maury, M-O-U-R-Y. I always think they should do a campaign for this called something like, there's something about Maury or Maury Christmas, and because it's a wine style that I think people in the UK would love. It's a fortified wine, so in other words they've added some a neutral grape brandy to it in order to boost the alcohol level, and they add it before the fermentation's finished, so before all the sugar in the grapes has turned to alcohol. So there's still some sweetness in the wine, chomp the brandy in, and the yeast goes, bleh, carks it, and leaving you with something that's got quite high alcohol. What's the alcohol here? No, not too high, 15.5%, and but with some sweetness. So this is Domaine Poudreau 2004. Yo, like, I don't know if you ever remember cherry chocolate liqueurs, where they had like a liqueur cherry that had been soaked in brandy, and then enrobed. It was always enrobed, wasn't it, in dark chocolate? Very much like that. Chocolate, kirsch, and winter warmer. It was like you feel your pipes being covered in velvet, and someone pouring that mixture of Christmas pudding and chocolate cherries down, which I'm sure you can pay lots of money in certain clubs to experience. Tasty wine. It's February. That will be perfect with Christmas pudding, but I've got another 10 months to wait till that. I don't think that bottle's going to last that long. See you soon.